there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com and with this week's episode of the Rogues Alley. This week I'm going to be focusing on Eldritch Evolution. I've been having a lot of success with different brews. With Eldritch Evolution, you can go a toolbox type deck. This is going to be an all-out aggro strategy, running the good old dragons from Dragons of Tarkir. I think that I want to give one last hoorah before these guys rotate to a kind of a dragon archetype, all-out mid-range aggro type strategy. So Eldritch Evolution is a 3-mana spell. It's additional cost to cast it, you sack a creature. So right off the bat, we want to find value creatures that get value out of either entering the battlefield or dying, and then you can search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2, plus the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost, and put it onto the battlefield. So I think with my testing so far, with Eldritch Evolution, the best card is actually Reality Smasher. Like, the best play I've been able to play in this standard format is Matter Reshaper into Reality Smasher. There's other targets that are pretty decent at the 5. I made a deck that tries to use Eldritch Evolution as the toolbox card to go get the Eldrazi Displacer. You can go check that kind of video out on my YouTube channel. I'll be doing other versions of that coming up shortly. And I've also used Eldritch Evolution in a Naya Legendary brew, because you can go kill a Matter Reshaper into a Thala's Lieutenant, which can then go get you any legendary creature. And there actually is quite a few legendary creatures. You can even go into 4 colors or 5 colors that are very, very good with Eldritch Evolution, just cheating them in. So there's just a ton of exploration. I think that once Collected Company goes out of the format, I think that this will be Green's new toolbox type card. The good news is, most of the Eldritch Evolution decks that I've messed around with are pretty much rotation proof. The one in front of you is not, because we are choosing to use dragons, but the 2 targets I like to kill the most, and the third one being Pilgrim's Eye, are still legal. So we have really good 2 and 3 drops. The Primal Druid just becomes the secure tri-builder with an Eldritch Evolution. You go get a land in the battlefield tapped. So what I like about Primal Druid draw is you go Primal Druid into like a Surrak, so Eldritch Evolution, and then you actually have the mana for the Reality Smasher after that, because turn 3, you have 3 mana on board, kill the Primal Druid, you have 4, you'll get the Surrak, the Hunt Caller, and then turn 4, you have Reality Smasher, and then they can both attack in. Or you can just get like a Thunderbreak Regent or a Thought-Knot Seer. So I mean, these are our aggressive 4 drops here, which I've been pretty impressed with this build. So I'd like Draconic Roar right now in the format because it kills Sylvan Advocates and still does damage. We are that mid-range deck that does need to go over the top of Bant Company, so every tiny bit of damage matters. It also is very good versus Thermo, the Alchemist, Thermo Alchemist, as that is a 3 toughness creature. A lot of people prefer the Sorcery Speed card that exiles, does 3 damage to a creature or player, or exiles, but Draconic Roar at instant speed is pretty good. You can just wait for your opponent to like end step, and it kills spell quellers when they're tapped out. Like you can make them tap their mana for like the Coco, and then use a Draconic Roar for something. So spell queller and the spirits in Bant Company are a little bit difficult for this deck sometimes, but we do have that ability that once we get into the turn 4, turn 5 to just really, really start going over the top of those type of strategies. So I think I want to try Draconic Roar. We have in the main, we have 7 dragons, and we have easy ways to get into dragons with the Eldritch Evolution. So after the fact, Draconic Roar, if you have a dragon out, is going to do the 3 damage to the opponent. But early on, it's just a good 3 mana remove or 2 mana removal spell for most of the cards that are going to come out early in the format. Again, we're really looking at Sylvan Advocate and Grim Haruspex, and what are some other ones that are in the format at the moment? But just those type of cards that we can kill before Sylvan Advocate becomes a 4/5. And then it doesn't, like, I'd like this card to kill Kalitas, but we don't really have any. It kills Gisela, which is good, but I think that once they get up to Kalitas isn't too much of a problem for this deck, as, again, we'll be able to go over the top of that. So let's just go down. So the 2 drop into the 4 drop is going to be a Surrak, 2 Thought-Knot Seers, and 4 Thunderbreak Regents. And again, we can just end up hard casting these on turn 4. What I don't like about this deck is we're not doing anything on turn number 1. That's why I'm running the 4 of Evolving Wilds. Pretty much self-explanatory on the mana base. We're running 24 lands, 4 of them being the Haven of the Spirit Dragon, because we do have 4 Thunderbreaks, 2 Icefalls, a Dragonlord Ojutai, and then some other Dragonlords in the side. Then we have what I like about the Haven of the Spirit Dragon is also can cast that colorless for your Eldrazi, because we're running 4 Reality Smashers, 2 Thought-Knots, 4 Matter Reshapers, so it's going to appease that. And then we're running the Shivan Reefs and the Yavimaya Coasts to also help with the Reality Smasher. So again, the best play with this, though, I really like is going Matter Reshaper or Foul Emissary into Reality Smasher. That seems just like a really, really good turn 4 play. You cheat out a Reality Smasher a turn early, you're attacking for 5. I really like this deck too, because if they're targeting the Thunderbreak Regent, it's going to do 3 damage. If they're targeting the Reality Smasher, it's going to make them discard a card. Everything in the deck is just really, really powerful with the power. It's like the Matter Reshaper is a 3/2 for 3, which is significantly good if you have to end up actually using this as an aggressive card. I actually even thought about bringing in the Eldrazi Mimic as the 2-drop, because then you do have the curve Eldrazi Mimic into Matter Reshaper into Thought-Knot into Reality Smasher, which is a very, very fun brew. I think that the Eldrazi are very underrated right now in the standard metagame. So I do like the 2 of Icefall Regent, because it is the toolbox fill-off Matter Reshaper. We don't know which card we want to get. Icefall Regents are incredibly powerful by tapping down a creature and then keeping it tapped down until your opponent has an answer for it. We have the Dragonlord Ojutai, which is a great Matter Reshaper into Dragonlord Ojutai, depending on what our opponent is playing. This is, again, a 5/4. It doesn't get in there for that early damage for the Reality Smasher, but it is something that can fill back up your hand and is hard for your opponent to kill right off the bat. Of course, this will come out versus Languish. We have a lot of cards that we'd have to side out versus the Languish type decks. So, and then we have a Ulrich of the Krallenhorde. I just thought I'd try this card out, the Ulrich, as it says whenever it enters the battlefield, it gives a creature +4/+4. It's something I like Eldritch Evolution in late, just to get some added damage, like another toolbox type card. And it actually, the curve I really want to find, and which is a brew for another day too, is I want to run Werewolves with Surrak and Ulrich. I think that this curve, Werewolves has a very, very, very good curve right now, and I think that people should definitely give it a try with just the aggressive curve, rather than, I think a lot of the Werewolf decks that I've seen recently have just tried to become too cute. But there's the 2 1-drops that are 2/1s, or one's a 1/1 that then flips into a 2/2, and the other one is just a 2/1 that you can turn into an Eldrazi later on. And then there is some really good 2-drop Werewolves. And then we have very, very good 3-drop, aggressive 3-drop. Some of them have haste. Some of them are just come in as a 3/2 a trample. And then the 4-drop slot is Surrak. So the 3-drop, usually with the power of 3, is going to give Surrak haste. And you'll be able to swing into the Surrak that turn. And then Surrak the next turn can give Ulrich haste. So you'll be swinging in for, you can give the +4/+4 to Ulrich, or target creature, so he can target himself, or give the +4/+4 to Surrak. So again, this is just in here as a toolbox, and we'll have to wait and see if we actually like it or not. Then the 4 of Reality Smashers, because this is really, it's between Thunderbreak Regent and Reality Smasher. We're going to try to cheat it in a turn early and see if that's just enough to take over the majority of the decks in the metagame right now, or the meta. And then we have 2 Elder Deep-Fiends, just as another way to sacrifice Matter Reshapers and Foul Emissaries, because usually this is another turn 4 play. You can go Matter Reshaper, sack it to the Eldrazi, or the Elder Deep-Fiend, and then be good to go by tap down 4 target permanents. So usually we should have the blue source. We're only running a 1 of island, but the Yavimaya Coast and the 4 of the Reef should easily find us the blue for the Elder Deep-Fiend. So I mean that's 9 sources right there, and then the 4 Evolving Wilds can actually boost that up for the Elder Deep-Fiend. Elder Deep-Fiend's just a blowout. Usually on the turn you want to cast it. You don't want to have too many in your hand, but I think 2 is the right number, because statistically you're going to see 1 almost every game. So the Deep-Fiend is going to, it's actually about 1 in 4 games you'll see an Elder Deep-Fiend. But I think that if a game does go to the turn 5 after you've had like a Thunderbreak Regent or Reality Smasher, just makes your Matter Reshapers and Foul Emissaries, and even at this point, like the Primal Druid, easy sack targets for an Elder Deep-Fiend to basically time walk your opponent. So we could go up in counts of these if we so choose. Like, again, I'm looking for a good Eldrazi deck brew with Eldrazi Mimic later on. I think, again, there's another Elder Deep-Fiend that works beautifully with Eldrazi Mimic, turning the Mimic into a 5/6. So, unfortunately, you do like to cast Elder Deep-Fiend, though, on your opponent's turn. So anyway, on this sideboard, we have Dragonlord Silumgar, Dragonlord Dromoka. Dromoka will come in versus the decks we need to gain life. Silumgar will come into against the decks we want to take creatures. I have an Eldrazi Obligator for that reason as well, that we can actually steal a creature. We have then 2 Profaner of the Dead. So I put these in versus the humans matchup just to kind of try for me to stabilize. It's okay versus Bant Company as well. It usually does do a good job of returning everything back, even if you have to just exploit itself. Plus, it can exploit an early Primal Druid or Matter Reshaper as well, and then bounce back a bunch of creatures. It's just our early stabilization versus those aggro. And speaking of other early stabilizations, the Radiant Flames and the Kozilek's Returns are going to come in. Kozilek's Return can be flashed back with the Elder Deep-Fiend. But that's really the only thing that can get it back. 2 Pulse of Murasas. This is just because Thermo Thing is just everywhere. I don't know your experiences, but I'm at least seeing every 3 games, one of them is going to be Thermo Thing. I think it's just a very easy deck to put together, very budget, and it is everywhere on MTGO. So Pulse of Murasa is very good versus those decks, as you can get 6 life back and a creature. And we do need some sort of lifelink. We are going to be Painland. 8 Pain Lands is going to be taxing us a little bit. I have 2 more Thought-Knot Seers against decks that are weak against Thought-Knot Seers because we do want that Primal Druid into Thought-Knot. And then a Dragonlord Atarka in the side. It just wasn't working out in the main. I hated actually sacrificing like an Eldritch Evolution to the Reality Smasher. We don't have the most lands in the deck, so it's hard to get up to 7. And it is something after an Elder Deep-Fiend, you can actually sack an Elder Deep-Fiend to go get a Dragonlord Atarka as well. But that doesn't actually seem that great either. So that's just basically just the deck. We'll queue this up in either a standard daily or a standard 5-man and see how well we do. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.